Hey, this is Dave from CheapWineFinder.com. And we've got another wine today to talk about, like we usually do, because that's what we do. And today we have one from Paso Robles, California, and the Central Coast. It is the Lohr 7 Oaks Paso Robles Cabernet Sauvignon 2017. And Lohr is a family-owned winery. They've been around since the 70s, started out in Monterey, California, which is just the AVA north of Paso Robles, still on the central coast of California. And the 7 Oaks, and the name of this one is their first vineyard in Paso Robles. The Paso Robles winery came around in the 80s. Like I said, they started out in Monterey in the 70s, and I think they also have a vineyard in St. Helena and Napa, too. So they kind of run the gamut for wines and prices, too. They can get expensive, and they can be affordable. And this is actually affordable. I know, and it's kind of a cool wine because it's mass-produced. They make a lot of this wine, but they are using techniques that you kind of get in more boutique wineries. And it's kind of cool. So you're getting the best of both worlds. There's a lot of processes taking place to make this Cabernet Sauvignon. And it's like 82% Cabernet Sauvignon, and there is Petit Syrah, Merlot, and Petit Verdot, and what else is there? I forgot the last one, but it's mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the way it should be. And in Bordeaux, it's almost never either 100% Cabernet Sauvignon or 100% Merlot. It's always add a little bit to it. And when you add a little bit to it, you can make it all it can be, and that's a very good thing. And I like Lohr, and I wrote about this, is that their tasting notes in their website tell you about the wine and the wine company. Writing about wine, I go through a lot of wine websites and a lot of tasting notes, and you get so many of these lifestyle websites, and we're all going to be in yachts and drink with models and stuff. It's kind of weird. And then there's all these tasting notes that are technical notes, which are supposed to tell you about the wine, and they don't really say what they're talking about. I always give it's not really a pet peeve, but they go, it was aged on oak. And it's like, okay, what did you do there? Did you put it on a barrel? Because I don't think that's how barrels work with wine. And like, why don't you just say what you did? And Lohr says what they did. And that's pretty cool. And another thing is, I learned something from their technical notes. Malolactic fermentation. That is almost all red wine goes through malolactic fermentation. They don't normally talk about it. Chardonnay goes through malolactic fermentation too, and they usually talk about that because that makes, you can taste the difference in Chardonnay, because a lot of Chardonnay don't go through it completely. And with red wine, since all of them do it just about, it's not as big a deal. But it turns out that, after they fermented this Cabernet Sauvignon in stainless steel vats, 20% of it went into barrel and the other stayed in the vats. And they add, and I don't remember the name of it, but bacteria, it's dried bacteria. They use yeast for the fermentation, and this is a fermentation too, it's malolactic fermentation. But the yeast feast on the tart, mallow acid, and ends up, the byproduct of that is lactic acid, which is like lactose milk. And they named what yeast they use. There's many different types that use different things. And I learned that's what malolactic fermentation is. I knew it was such a thing. I knew that you look out for Chardonnay, because if you have a little oak, you're going to want malolactic with your Chardonnay. But, I learned something. They said what they're doing. Another thing I liked about what they're doing, they used American oak. For high-end wines, it's all French oak, and they even tell you about which forest it was coming from. There's a pecking order for forests. And the same species that are in France is in Hungary and Slovakia and stuff. But it's the exact same tree, just a little bit further inland, and oh no, it's not French. Here it's American oak for 12 months, 22% new. The rest is all, used at least once or twice or whatever. And the oak comes from Missouri, and it comes from Minnesota. They actually were proud of their oak, and they were telling you what there was. They chose this oak to use. American oak barrels is much cheaper than a French oak barrel, but it also gives out different flavors, and you have to use it differently because it's got a wider grain, so it can give more influence to the wine. You say, but if you know what you're doing, that's fine. If you want those flavors, that's fine too. And if it comes in at a less expensive cost, and I don't know too many wine drinkers who drink inexpensive value price wines who can pretty much tell you the difference between French oak and American oak. If it's done properly, it's both really good. And here they are, they're telling you where the forest was. And that's like, okay, I like that. Not rather than, oh, it was on oak. And, they just kind of like do double talk with the words. Not J. Lohr. They're telling you what's going on. They told you that there was a 115 degree heat wave in September. And it was like, oh, that stresses the grapes out something fierce. And it was it didn't really change things. The wines, the vines were stressed, but the harvest didn't happen until October. So by the time harvest came around, the grapes had calmed down and everything was fine. And it was a pretty good vintage. So, and it kind of told you what other vintages were warm. They gave you information that you need to pick out a wine. Now, does everybody out there bother to check out the technical notes and go beyond just the first page of their website if you even look at that? I don't know, but I think you should, because the more you know about something, the more you can make an informed decision. I mean, I look it up and I put what I think is important in the wine reviews, and you can get, filtered through me for things, but to my own self be true, I believe, it doesn't take that much. It's an internet. You Google it. It takes 5 seconds. And I'm going to drink this because this is a fairly classy Cabernet Sauvignon. I'll go into that too. Because even though this is a mass-produced wine, they make a bunch of it. They're using upscale techniques on how to make it. So you're getting you're not getting, most $10 Cabernets are like plump and juicy and bright and they taste good. And I'm not complaining about them at all, but it's a different style. And this one's sleek and it's lean and it's got these like a stew of flavors. Nothing jumps out. And then the tannins are there, but they're kind of sweet. You might feel them on your tongue or the back of your throat just a little. But that's what you're supposed to when you're drinking Cabernet Sauvignon. And so you're getting kind of a wine with features from more expensive wines, but at a very good price. I think I found it for $12. It was on sale. It's not what it normally goes for, but it's not a expensive wine. And so you're getting a best of both worlds wine. J. Lohr is telling you what's going on with the wine. They're being proud about what they're doing. And let's see, what else is there? Oh, and if you're looking for Cabernet Sauvignon, Napa Valley, they're not going to give you one at a price you want, or, they'll have great ones, and Sonoma can be a little pricey. If you want a value price, something that's bringing it, something you're going to drink right now, Paso Robles is a really good place, along with Lodi. That's Central Valley, Central Coast, that doesn't have the mystique. It doesn't have the, it doesn't have the name recognition, though Paso Robles is getting that. And also Washington State's really doing well with that too, where you're getting quality, drink it now, Cabernet Sauvignon at a pretty good price. Where, because the Napa Valley stuff, the Bordeaux stuff, they get the press, but that's kind of a whole different category. When you're just talking about what I got, Monday night, and it doesn't have to Monday, if it's good enough for Monday, it's good enough for Saturday, but it doesn't have to be, this isn't just a Tuesday night wine. You can drink this anywhere. It's a very good, well-made wine. But, those are the places you should be looking for Cabernet Sauvignon. Napa is famous. Yeah, Bordeaux was famous. And Bordeaux actually has a bunch of wines under $20. But I'm talking more like the high end stuff. When you're talking about affordable Cabernet Sauvignon, Paso Robles, Lodi, Washington State, and even Bordeaux is the way to be looking for, because you can find really good ones, really quality ones there for a very good price. And I think that does it for me. I did too much talking. I only got one sip in. I didn't get some, didn't get more of it. So I guess I'll have to sip it after I'm done with this, but there you go. That's it for me. Keep it cheap. I don't know what we're doing next, but we always do something next. We have been, I think we're going on this summer. It'll be our start of our 12th year. So we've been doing this for a long time, and I think we got over 2,000 wine rooms on our website. So go in there and look for several hundred of them if you feel like it. I mean, you got to listen to me go on and on, but there you go. So adios, keep it cheap, and I'll talk to everybody in a few days. Bye-bye.